here comes a contestant who had viewers glued to their screens.
You've consistently disappointed us.
And nope, it wasn't for his cooking skills, but just to see how far he could get away with his arrogance. Well, that's how aggravating Tali Clavijo was. Simply put, the dude was deluded as hell.
I look at my team and I'm extremely confident that we're gonna win this challenge.
Now, anyone who even remotely follows the show has heard of Tali.
I'm gonna have to throw someone under the bus.
I mean, if you're looking for any video that's gotta do with the worst dishes or worst chefs on MasterChef, finding Tali on that list is a no-brainer. Hell, it wouldn't surprise me if someone accidentally put him on a Hell's Kitchen list given how insane the guy was. You see, right from day one, the dude proved to the world that he wasn't much of a cook. And this poor attitude became evident during the first elimination round. After winning the first mystery box challenge, Felix earned the golden ticket to the pantry, and with that came an advantage.
Felix now gets to choose the style of food. However, the thing she cannot control is the theme of the challenge.
Yes, Felix had the power to choose the variety of fish the contestants got to cook with. However, the theme would be decided by the judges.
Dish that intimidates me, and it's a dish that takes me back to my grandmother's kitchen.
Yeah, guess what he's talking about. A classic Italian risotto. But wait, that was just Joe's pick for the day. Graham went with the classic New England clam chowder, and Chef Ramsay with his ever-notorious beef Wellington.
It's so intimidating. It takes years of practice.
And well, I don't doubt that one bit. With 3 perfectly crafted dishes before her, what do you think Felix would choose for the challenge?
The dish that Felix chose was a stunning risotto.
Yeah, what else was it gonna be but risotto, right? Once Felix's choice was put forward to the rest of the contestants, the rest of them got busy whipping up a risotto that could remind Joe of his grandmother. When Tali dashed into the pantry, he couldn't believe the variety of ingredients he could get his hands on.
Sodium alginate. Pretty much everything you need to make awesome risotto.
Excuse me? What was that? Xanthan gum, sodium alginate, tapioca maltodextrin? Tali, my man, I can't even pronounce half that stuff. And you're sure you're gonna use all of these in your risotto? I mean, I really hope Tali's dish doesn't send Joe to meet his great-grandmother. And it's not just me, seeing him work, Felix had doubts of her own. The dude was going in completely blind.
Looks like Tali has never made risotto before. It looks like Dave Mack.
And the judges joined in on Felix's concern train.
Everybody. Well done.
Yeah, see, here's the thing about this guy. He always thinks he is doing something revolutionary, completely out of the box with all his dishes, but all he makes are blunders that are pretty much irreversible. As Chef Ramsay said, this guy was almost always in some hot water. Soon enough, it was time up for the contestants. Finally, the judges would get to taste his brilliant creation.
Risotto, we want to taste this from Tali.
Joe is definitely the...
Now, before I even say a word about the judges' reaction, let's take a look at his dish, shall we? Cause trust me, it needs to be studied by science. And I don't mean that in a good way.
cranberry, cherry, and gooseberry risotto.
What's this?
Joe was the first one to judge his dish, and he was already confused with the different array of ingredients on the plate.
What's this? What's this baby powder looking stuff here?
That's hazelnut and walnuts mixed with some tapioca maltodextrin.
Baby powder is one way to describe it. But despite Tali's explanation, here's what Joe thought about the dish.
What you did on that dish is inappropriate and ultimately kind of disgusting. Congratulations.
He almost sounded offended. That's how bad his dish was. I mean, how do you take such a simple dish and make it into an abomination? One thing's for sure, Tali's talented. Talented in ruining things for everyone. As for Chef Ramsay, let's just say he wasn't a huge fan either.
That is a disaster.
When Chef Ramsay calls a dish a disaster, you better believe he means every bit of it. With a dish like that, it should be no surprise that Tali wasn't gonna make it to the top 3. But Tali wasn't the least bit concerned. Now, while the judges stepped aside to deliberate who'd go home, Tali was engaged in a pretty serious conversation with his best buddy, and we all know who that is.
I'm gonna have to throw someone under the bus.
Talk about friendship goals.
How you feel?
Good.
Well, that little conversation you just heard proved one thing. Tali was willing to do anything to stay in the competition, even if that meant throwing someone under the bus. Hey Tali, here's an idea. How about you actually cook some decent food instead? Maybe that way you wouldn't have to stomp on someone to rise to the top. And hey, bonus points, you'd get to skip all the elimination drama too. Anyways, it looks like the judges were finally ready with their decision.
The third of the worst dishes, that dish, belongs to Tali.
Are we even surprised? Yeah, I didn't think so. Despite landing on the bottom, Tali was still delusional about his dish.
What do the judges want? Why didn't they see it on my plate?
I'll tell you why, because it was absolute shit. Tali didn't make it home that night, which means everyone was forced to watch even more of his screw-ups. Joy. Like, remember episode 6? It was once again the elimination round, and this time, guess who won the mystery box challenge?
Ryan, great job.
That's right, it was Tali's buddy boy Ryan, and you bet Tali was feeling ecstatic with his win.
Ryan and I rock, and together we're going to, set this place on fire.
Really good job.
I guess Tali knew that with Ryan winning the mystery box challenge, he'd be out there looking out for him, trying to save him from going home. After winning the challenge, Ryan headed straight to the pantry to receive his well-earned advantage from the judges.
The theme of today's elimination is fresh versus convenient.
Alright, sounds like a deal breaker, but let's take a look at the ingredients.
That ingredient is ahi tuna.
As for Chef Ramsay's pick, you won't believe what he went with.
It is the most amazing ham.
And last but not the least was Joe.
I'm talking about crabs. These babies can sell for up to...
Now, Ryan had the power to choose which ingredient the chefs would get to cook with, and guess what he picked?
Crab chef. That little guy is going to send home some of my competition, I think.
But wait, there's more. He also got to choose which contestants would cook with fresh live crab, and which ones could go with the canned crab. And believe me, this is one of the standout moments where we get to see the bond between Ryan and Tali in action.
Tali's my partner in crime. He's the other half of the dream team.
Crab.
Interesting.
See what I mean? And Tali, Ryan's dream team bro, was thrilled with the selection.
Oh, come here, little guy. Ryan totally hooks me up. I'm so stoked right now.
Now you'd think having assigned fresh crab, Tali would actually come up with something delicious, right? Well, I tell you that you haven't learned a thing from the risotto disaster. He hadn't even finished his dish, and the judges were already concerned.
It's quite interesting when you look at the strategy that Ryan took.
And just like that, before you know it, the clock ticked down and it was time for the contestants to present their dish. So Tali went in first, and let me tell you, his dish was a complete jump scare for the judges.
It's like a horror movie.
And with a mug as ugly as that, who can blame them for getting spooked? But there was a more pressing concern.
All the
I put it into
back fin crab meat in the middle.
I put it in the sauce.
Tali tried to be fancy by tossing in some meat in the sauce, but the judges weren't going to be thrown off the scent that easily. Especially Joe.
And you took the back fin meat and did what with it?
Well, I put a little bit in the sauce. I made like a stock out of it.
Remember how I told you he was talented in ruining stuff? Well, look no further than this mess. Like, you had one of the biggest advantages to cook with a freaking huge live crab given to you by your best buddy, and this is what you came up with? I mean, just look at Graham. He wasn't as frustrated, he was more confused than anything.
I mean, this, especially with the rice in the middle, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's just stupid.
Now, out of all the judges, Graham was the only one to actually go easy with the criticism, but if he was calling your dish straight up stupid, then you know messed up. And then there was Joe.
Sorry.
Ryan, what'd you do to this guy? Did you want to send him home?
No.
Tali. Ryan was ashamed on his behalf, to say the least.
I give Tali a beautiful crab, and he totally screws it up.
But wait, Chef Ramsay's reaction to Tali's dish was stone cold.
Based on that performance, I'd start packing my knives if I was you.
Ryan's big plan seemed to have blown up in his face, leaving Tali teetering on the edge of elimination. Again. But you know Tali, it's impossible to expect him to acknowledge his own mistakes.
You're not seeing the art behind the plate here. My stuff is so good that they can't even see the potential.
The more he spoke, the more embarrassing it got. Like, that's peak delusional behavior, and you cannot tell me otherwise. Like, proofs in all the bottom 3 spots he earned throughout the season. He had so many that you'd be forgiven for thinking he had one of those spots reserved, no matter the challenge or day. But since he made it into the next episode, it's safe to say that Tali also had a knack for dodging eliminations. Anyway, it was team challenge time on MasterChef, and guess what? Christine was the team captain this time around, and they had a heck of a challenge ahead of them.
This morning, cooking all of the breakfast room service orders at this huge Radisson hotel.
That's right. The contestants were tasked with whipping up all the breakfast room service orders for the hotel. Yeah, we're getting a little Hell's Kitchen up in here. So let that set the stage for the kind of chaos Tali was gonna cause. Anyway, what's on the menu?
A delicious oatmeal, handmade pancakes. Simple, straightforward.
Simple yet delicious. And since Josh also had a pretty good dish last episode, he joined Christine as a team captain. Christine went ahead and picked Felix, Scott, Tanya, Mike, Stacy, and guess which 2 contestants got picked last?
Being one of the last 2 to be picked really shows their judgment skills.
Yup, the 2 sore losers. And for once, I don't feel sorry that they were last to be considered. Let me tell you, Christine was having a hard time choosing whether she wanted Tweedledum or Tweedledee on her team.
I don't want either one of them on my team. My last pick is Ryan.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, she had no option but to go with Tali.
I'm standing there in disbelief. I can't believe I am the bottom pick right now. I should be first.
I don't know about that, buddy. If you ask me, you shouldn't even be on the show. But wait, there's a twist in the challenge. Since Christine won the elimination challenge, she got to swap one of her team members with one from Josh's team. And guess who got swapped?
This is garbage that I'm getting traded like this. I am not looking forward to it at all.
I'm taking Becky.
Wow.
So the dream team was on the same team. Funny how the universe works sometimes. Well, one thing's for sure. With both Tali and Ryan in the blue team, the team was sure to be doomed.
Gordon discovers standards are slipping.
Who put the fruit on there?
I did.
No way, no way.
What's more, it wasn't just Tali who was adamant on bringing the team down.
And we need 3 orders of scrambled eggs.
He looks a little confused standing around, and I'm getting frustrated.
The challenge wrapped up, and Joe gathered the votes from our guests. And just as I predicted, drumroll please.
The red team.
That means the blue team was heading to the pressure test. As the team was waiting for the pressure test to be announced, once again we got to witness Tali and Ryan do what they do best, gossip.
We want Monty to go home. Some girls have like 1 screw loose. I feel like she has like 30 different screws loose.
It's like each time these 2 talk, all we hear are schemes against other contestants or just plain old trash talk.
MasterChef kitchen. Ding dong, the witch is dead with a capital B.
And guess what? They were so badly praying for Monty's downfall, but the universe, or should I say the judges, had other plans for the challenge. Turns out, they'd be deciding which contestant would be safe from the challenge, and guess who the judges picked?
Congratulations. Well done.
I'm pretty pissed that Monty's up there safe and not me.
And with that out of the way, it was time to introduce the challenge.
Molten lava cake.
A molten lava cake? Listen, I'm no chef, but I'm pretty sure someone who's competing on a show like this must have the kind of skill to make a dessert like that.
When you slice into one, you should be rewarded with a chocolate gooey surprise.
So, all the home chefs gotta whip up a cake using the same ingredients at their stations. To do this, they had 45 minutes to nail it, and they got 4 shots at making the perfect one. But here's the thing, only the best cake got to come up to bat.
Bring it up to us straight away, because that is the cake you'll be judged on.
Ryan and his ego seemed to sizzle alongside the ingredients, and it appeared his dream team companion shared the same flamboyant flavor.
Who in this group of 4 is going to go home today?
I think Josh is gonna go home.
Josh?
Yes.
Maybe your buddy Ryan might go home.
Anyway, Ryan was the first to whip out his cake from the oven and plop it on the plate.
Oh my God. This is diarrhea on a plate.
Oh, I've gotta agree, it'd look better in a toilet bowl than on a plate. As for the rest of the crew, well, they were all on the struggle bus too, though Tali was still pretty chill given the circumstances.
I was going to cut into this as a test, but my other cake's probably been there just as long.
The judges were quite taken aback by his bold, or should I say stupid move.
This is gonna be the cake to present to the judges.
Are you serving that?
And when it was time for judgment, Tali strutted forward, proudly presenting his creation to the judges. But as the judges sliced into it, there was a pause. As the judges deliberated, they summoned Josh and Anna to the forefront. Chef Ramsay lauded their cakes as nothing short of culinary perfection. And Joe hailed Anna's transformation of the pressure test into a veritable showcase. Thus, Josh and Anna emerged unscathed. Well deserved. Now, the spotlight shifted to Ryan and Tali, the renowned dream team with one destined for departure.
And my closest ally, either one of us could go home right now. This is no joke.
And finally, the much-awaited judgment was delivered. And it's not what either of them had been hoping for.
Stood up. Tasted floury. Tasted bland.
Tali's heart sank as he reflected on where he might have missed the mark. But here's the thing, Ryan's cake? Oh, it was worse. Though it was still pretty close in Chef Ramsay's eyes, so he pulled a pretty novel move and called for one of them to volunteer and step forward and surrender their apron.
To be noble and to come up here and hand me their apron.
And guess who stepped up without hesitation?
Oh my god.
You know, I'm torn. Either this is Ryan being the bigger man among the two, or Tali throwing his best buddy under the bus when their buddy-buddy agreement no longer suited him. Sure, I was hoping Tali would step up instead of Ryan, but let's be real, Tali is too self-centered to do something like that. But hey, eventually that day did arrive, because there was no shot that this dude was making a run all the way to the finale. Episode 11 came like a breath of fresh air. It was possibly the answer to many prayers, though of course nobody knew that from the jump. But fast forward through, well, the entire episode, and Tali was back in the hot seat for elimination. No surprises there, and Felix was back in the driver's seat to make Tali's life hell in the pressure test.
Good, because it's time to go fishing. Beautiful.
From freshwater to saltwater.
Felix had the ultimate fishy decision to make. There were 9 fish lined up, waiting for her to play favorites.
Your enormous advantage is that you get to hand select that you and your competitors will be cooking.
Oh my God.
We're talking rockfish, John Dory, catfish, yellowtail, salmon, and Arctic char, just to name a few.
Cooking in this competition. First of all, what fish for yourself?
So it was decision time, and she went with the California halibut for herself. And you won't believe it, but guess which fish she ended up giving Tali?
The easiest fish?
It could be his downfall. I give David the yellowtail.
He lucked out with the easiest catch of the bunch. But you know what's funny? I actually agree with Felix on this one. No matter if he's handed the toughest challenge in the room, or what would practically be a free ticket into the top 3 for literally anybody else, he's always gonna find a way to mess it up for himself. Now, remember the crab? Well, what he did this time around was way worse. You see, as soon as the challenge kicked off, Tali was cruising straight towards disaster as per usual.
I'm going to finish it on the skillet.
Why would you sous vide that?
It cooks it in its own juices.
The disappointment on Chef Ramsay's face spoke volumes. But wait till he finally walked up to the front.
Hey chef, it's a sous vide Arctic char over green lentils.
Yeah, he tried to explain his dish further, but the more he went on, the more annoyed Joe got.
So it's not master orator or master tell me about what my intention is about cooking.
Oh, and he didn't stop there.
It's master chef. You think you're gonna impress us with things like sous vide, emulsify?
Joe is sharp, and he knew what Tali was trying to do. Using fancy words to cover up his flaws was something Tali did every freaking day, and Joe was sick of it. And his dish had only been on the podium for like 10 seconds, and you better believe Joe was sick of that too.
Overcooked. You have a bunch of herb scraps with no dressing on them. You got a piece of fatty, nasty looking bacon.
It was a disaster to say the least. And then came Chef Ramsay.
Not master bait.
I think we all do, really, but wait till you hear what he said next.
The flavor, Tali. It's badly seasoned. It's just a mess.
But that's not all. He went on with the criticism saying that there was no flavor and it was badly seasoned on top of it. As for Tali, there's no way he was gonna start being humble enough to believe them now of all times.
The beauty and the genius that is my food.
Oh man, that sucks.
Imagine being a grown man and not having the capacity to take criticism head on. Like, I get it, you're proud of your dish, but not wanting to admit your mistakes and instead blaming it on the others is just not it. Would it kill him to get over himself? I think we'll never know. Anyways, the 3 worst dishes of the challenge are announced, and at this point, it should be no surprise who made the list.
The wrong ingredients and the wrong flavors. That person is Tali.
And now for the moment we've all been waiting for.
The person leaving MasterChef is Tali. The time is done.
Finally some good news. I honestly didn't know how he made it this far. Either the guy's extremely lucky or the show is rigged. Having survived this far on the show, it makes you wonder what he's doing right now, right? Turns out, Tali's put his culinary ambitions on the back burner, and thank God for that. For his sake though, I hope he's miles better at music than he is at cooking. But I'll let you be the judge of that. And not bad, I mean seriously. I think he just came to try his luck and somehow got on the show. Because this dude didn't have even half as much as the skill he's showing here in his cooking. Anyway, it looks like he finally realized where his heart belongs. As best as I can tell, he was or is the head of talent at Lucky Day. And that's not all. He was in the recruitment game for WAG Labs Inc., which is a tech startup. But the latest I've got on him is that he's currently over at Edify as a recruiter. He may not have secured the trophy home, but at least he got a best friend. toxic of a pair though it may be. Anyway, that's a wrap on everything I've got about Tali. But which is your favorite Tali moment from the show? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you want to keep the entertainment going, then don't forget to check out the next video right here, it's even crazier.